what I saw, realized, and perceived when in the desert. I was lifted into another dimension of conscious perception, which enabled me to see the truth concerning life and existence. I saw lucidly and clearly what was real and what was false in man's thinking. I realized that this creative power I was experiencing was infinite, eternal, universal, filling all space beyond sky, oceans, earth, and all living things. I saw it was mind power. It was the creative power of mind. There was no point where this divine creative power of mind was not. I realized that human mind was drawn from divine creative mind, but was only a candle lit by the sun. At times, my human sight was so spiritually heightened, I could see through rocks, earth, sand. These now appeared to be only a shimmer of tiny motes. I realized that nothing was really solid. When I had moments of doubt that this could be so, the changes in the phenomena stopped taking place, and much later, I discovered that my thoughts, if strongly imbued with conviction, could effect changes in the shimmer of motes, what science presently calls electrically charged particles, and therefore produce changes in the appearance of the rock or whatever I was studying. It was at this point that I came to realize the powerful effect that conviction or unwavering faith had on the environment when stating a command or even a belief. What was even more startling was my mind-opening cosmic consciousness realization that all I had been witnessing was really the creative power of divine mind itself, made visible in the shimmer of tiny motes. Not only this, its appearance could be profoundly affected by the activity of human thought. I realized there was nothing solid in the universe. Everything visible was manifesting a differing state of consciousness, which determined the composition and form of the shimmer of motes. Therefore, all outer form was an expression of the inner consciousness. Life and consciousness, I realized, were one and the same thing. It was impossible to say, this is life and that is consciousness. Consciousness was life, and life was consciousness, and was the creative power of both. Divine universal mind beyond, within, and behind the universe. I realized that people placed highest importance on individuality and form. They could not imagine mind or intelligence operating in any effective way other than through the medium of individual form. Because of this, the Jews had created a mental image of a vast supreme being having all the attributes, positive and negative, of a human being. Thus was it possible for prophets to believe in and speak of Jehovah's anger, threats of punishment, visitations of sickness and plagues in response to human waywardness. But these mental images, I realized, were myths. They did not exist. I perceived that in any dimension of existence, it was the mind, the intelligence exhibited, which was the all-important factor relating to creation and man himself. Therefore, Genesis should be rewritten. Before creation was universal mind, creative power behind and within creation itself. Having seen so clearly, beyond all dispute, that the creative power of universal mind was everywhere within the infinity of the skies and active within earthly forms as well, I was inwardly directed to look around me and saw only gravel and rock. Then, suddenly, I was presented with a picture of a beautiful land in which were growing every conceivable plant, shrub, and tree. Even birds flitted in the trees, and animals grazed the grass. Watching this vision with amazement, I saw that plants and trees, every one of them, and yes, even birds and animals, in reality, were composed of hundreds of communities of infinitely tiny entities, your modern scientists call them cells, working continuously in an entirely harmonious spirit of cooperation to produce the substance and various organs of the inner system and the outer appearance of the completed living entity. I contemplated this wonderful activity for a long time, although time was no longer of any importance to me. As I gazed and gazed, I thought, who would have guessed that within the outer covering of fur, feather, skin, there was such intense activity within tiny communities of entities working together to give life, form, nutrition, healing, protection, endurance to the bodies of so many different species. It was the intelligently performed work which attracted my attention. Therefore, work, I realized, was an integral part of the creative power activity from the very least entity, cell, within living systems to the most advanced entity in the universe, man himself. In the systems of all living things, all the labor was under the direction, ultimately, of the divine creative power, in whom were the plans and designs of creation. I saw that these plans and designs were, in reality, consciousness forms, and could be termed words, since each word signifies a very special consciousness form.